you hungry yet? How about now?
Hi, Brian White is filling in for Buck. Welcome to Discovering. In late summer, Yoopers of all ages filter through the UP woods with ice cream pails, straw hats, and red-stained fingers, picking berries.
Tonight we'll travel to the Keweenaw Peninsula, home to bilberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, and more.
And the most sought after of all, the thimbleberry.
We'll also find out what it takes to turn all those berries into something you can put on a piece of bread. That's all tonight, right here on Discovering.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill. The eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
The Keweenaw Peninsula has long been noted for its variety of wild berries, and none more notable than the thimbleberry. The cool conditions along the Keweenaw's rugged Lake Superior coast provide the perfect habitat for this rare berry to flourish. I traveled to Eagle River, located on the shores of Lake Superior, halfway between Houghton and the tip of the Keweenaw Peninsula. It's there in a small kitchen I found Polly Mihelich, making jam the same way his family has done for over 50 years. No special equipment, no cutting corners, and absolutely no skimping on quality.
Okay, now look at these beautiful berries coming in out of the wild. So then we lay them out. I use a little extra light, then you just take them apart with your fork because they're a very tender berry. And as you go through, say you see something like this. What is that, a seed or something or whatever, gone. If you have any berries in here that have like black on them, we can say right in here, I will just go ahead and take this and throw it into that, which is going to be made into a mash. See how this berry is darker? All it is it's a little riper. More juice, skin gets dark, colors the jam. Our jam is red. Dark, take all the dark berries out, that goes into the syrups and thimbleberry jelly and other products that we can make this into by high grading this. That's why we're #1 on Google. No, it's all the way we've been trained, man. My mom, she was going blind when she was like in the last few years. So she'd be in the kitchen telling me, you know, I'd be saying, okay, Ma, today I'm doing huckleberry. What do I got to do? She said, oh, that's a real runny berry. You're going to have to get some of that juice out. You know, then now we're starting to talk. We got to start straining things and this and that. But fact of the matter is, she'd sit at the table. I would tell her what the story was in the pan, and she'd, by memory, would know what was going on just because of the berries that we were cooking. Too juicy, this, that. And you don't use pectin in your jam. That's where a lot of people make the mistake. So then you get your jam and you're putting it out instead of a nice smooth layer like peanut butter going out. It's like half jelly and half jam, which gives it a not a good appearance. It'd be like trying to spread Jell-O on bread. Just doesn't work. So anyway, her biggest thing was, she always said quality has to remain. Price can go up, but quality got to remain. But officer, I just picked up the light. That's why I don't have any. It always works. And this is, in case I gotta go to a wedding. You never know. Yeah. Here, you get this on film.
Before we get into the process of making jam, let's find out a little bit more about where these berries come from.
This is tough in here. Now, you want to go down in here a little bit? These should have been picked a long time ago. See how many are dying? These are your good ones. Put your finger under it, and you just roll the berry off. And these would be #1 berries. Now, if I'm making, when I pick jam, like this, should actually be more for the jar. Because I'm picking. Now you gotta get in here, you gotta get in between this stuff. Because in here is where you're gonna find a lot of berries. Like, see, no pickers know of these patches, and I haven't been up here this year yet. And a lot of these berries have been wasted. But I call it seed, because we're replanting as we go. Now down here, you're gonna notice right away in the shade, the berries, they're gonna be nicer and bigger and more of them. You can see all through here. See these, how they're not dried up now? Because they're in the shade. Thimbleberries like Broken Sun, all of this. But it gotta be roughed up ground. The ground's gotta be rough for them to replant. That's why all this logging up here is doing the berries really good, because they're roughing up the soils, and then with your natural wind, water, floods, birds, goes all over and then replants. These berries, see, they were all gonna be good, bigger, but we've been in a drought now. If you pick right now on this hill and went and found the wet spots, things always get better. People wonder what berry is good to eat, what berry is not. If you pick a berry and you'd eat it, it's good for your jam. If you pick a berry and you wouldn't eat it, you probably don't want it in your jam either. The actual plant now, okay, grows on this parallel throughout the United States. A lot of people don't realize that. But what's unique to this is we're one of the only areas that has enough moisture for these plants to produce their fruit. What they'll do is they'll just grow and they will blossom and then nothing. And on an off year, say if this was really wet now, the berries out in the out, where we started, would be nice like this, and these wouldn't be so good. They would be probably not even ripe at all. But now, consequently, they got more shade to stop them from the drought, is what's happening here. And this whole hillside's like a 10 square miles, so you can just meander your day away and pick berries. Try not to bust the plants as you go. It's easier to separate the plant and step on side of it than try to bust through them. Plus you open up the bushes and then you can see more of what's really happening in there. It's a real delicate job. You can't be like a gangbuster or you'll just knock them all down. But in your more shaded spots like this, see where these little trees are? Then you got nice berries. So you got to kind of get right in the woods. Lots of this old area where they logged, it's pretty gnarly. But where the trees have fallen, become nice areas for the seeds also to take root. Because once again, a branch will pierce the ground. A seed will find that little hole. We're doing all kinds of planting right now, even though we don't know it. Because you're squishing these seeds into the ground. You see how nice, clean, high grade, you know? Like this, you got a little bug right there. Out you go. Okay, let's go down and find some raspberries. Here's your wild raspberries. More bulbous. They're the same family, and they are more of a bulbous berry. And when you're in an area like this, we make a jam with raspberries and thimbleberries mixed. And we call that jam high and low road. these are choke cherries, and these just picked like this. That's why these are cheap. They only go like $2 a pound, but just rake them. And this makes an excellent wine or a jelly. They make a real good tasting wine, so there is some good. Let's go look for some currants. Currants make a very, very good jelly. And this is a mature currant plant. Looks similar to choke cherries, real tart. But these are also raked. So you just go down, you start at the top, just pull them right off. This makes the jelly they use for a glaze on the top of grouse. Clear ones taste exactly like the red ones, and I've tried to make a jelly with them, okay? It looks like water gelled. I didn't like it, you know? It's hard to sell a clear something in a jar, like selling air. If there's no color to it, it's hard to sell it. But yeah, you can, berry picking is what you make. If you know how to berry pick, you can just, sit down and fill a bucket in like a little spot. So in a half a day's time, you've picked a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some which way or another, made a living.
While in the Keweenaw, I met up with Harvey Desnick. Harvey is the creator of Keweenaw Wildflowers Up Close, an extensive exhibit of botanical photo art. It ranks as one of the largest public displays of wildflowers in Michigan. The exhibit is also available in book form called Keweenaw Wildflowers Blooming Seasons.
I do a program up at Fort Wilkins, and one of the things that it's a very, very nice Keweenaw. And I try to talk to people and inform them about the other kinds of berries that grow here on the Keweenaw besides some of the common ones. And one of the more famous but least known is the bilberry. And there are two fairly common types of bilberries here at the Keweenaw. There's the oval leaf bilberry and the tall bilberry. And what distinguishes bilberries from blueberries is they don't have the little triangular sepals on the bottom of the berries. The tall bilberry is the one that most people pick. They're several times the size of your average blueberry, and they're a purple to a black blue. This is the large bilberry. They're excellent for making jams and especially good in pies, and anything you would use blueberries for, you could use bilberries. First of all, they're unique to the Keweenaw and perhaps 4 or 5 other counties on the Upper Peninsula. And the Mount Bohemia region is especially noted to be one of the places that bilberries proliferate. Blueberries are of the same family as bilberries, Vaccinium, but they're sweeter. They're easy to identify. Everybody knows what a blueberry looks like, but if you look very closely at the point, you can see these 5 sepal tips, like little triangles, and that's for sure it's a blueberry. There are actually several types of blueberries that grow here. I think for edible purposes, it's really unimportant. They're all blueberries. There is a more rare type of blueberry that grows out in Isle Royale, as well as a couple of rare bilberries. This is a blue bead lily. And it obviously is a member of the lily family, but the blue beads, although they look tasty, are not edible and can cause you some stomach cramps. What's interesting about looking at this specific location is right next to it we have an oval leaf bilberry, which also is blue. We have a blue bead lily coming up right in the middle of it, so somebody could accidentally pick a blue bead lily, but it's obviously different, the color is different, and you should not pick those because they're not edible. On the other hand, in the spring, the leaves of the blue bead lily are edible and taste just like cucumber. And I didn't believe it. I tried it myself, and now I want to pick them and put them in my salads in the spring because it tastes just like cucumber. Right here, we have small bog cranberry. What I love about this spot is it's growing along the side of the road. And there are hundreds of cranberries ripening in here. Usually you will find these growing in bogs that are not that easy to get to. And this is one of the more common cranberries you'll find in our area. Both the large and small bog cranberries are also members of the Vaccinium family, same as blueberries. And these will be pickable about the time of the first frost. And they're getting much bigger. They start out very, very small. The blossoms are minute. And I personally, this is one of the first times I've been able to enjoy watching these things ripen, and I'm kind of looking forward to something cranberry come this fall. Bunchberries are edible, but they're tasteless, and Peterson's Guide, Edible Wild Plants, says that they are in fact, you can eat them, and they're nutritious. And so I've tried them, and actually they have a little bit of flavor, and they're not terribly bad. And along the road here, there are just thousands of them. I suggest maybe you toss them into salads. They have a little seed inside that could break a tooth. What we're looking at here are what's called tea berries. It's another name for wintergreen, and they're very typical. They're found all over the Keweenaw. They are especially prevalent here along the Gay-Lac-LaBelle Road. There are just thousands of them. I'm surprised to see them growing on the edge of the road, but they seem to love it. And you can see this one has a blossom on it. It'll bear a fruit this year, and that fruit will hang on through the winter, and it will get larger and more tasty in the spring and early summer. You can see that actually it's still got berries from last year, and it's got blossoms forming from this year. So what we're going to have is new berries here, and these will eventually die and go away. And tea berry makes an excellent tea. They can also be used for jams, and they have a wintergreen flavor, and I think we've all decided that's where they got the name tea berry gum from, because it had a wintergreen flavor, and hey, this is tea berry.
Now it's time to turn a bucket of berries into a jar of jam.
So, what we are going to do is we are going to make a batch of jam. One of the reasons why our quality is consistent, because I weigh everything. You make your stuff exactly the same because it's weight. We are going with a 50-50 mix, so open those and put them in. Okay. Showtime. What you gotta do when you're doing the pan is you put the spoon in by the side of the pan, use it as a lever, and easily rock it up. Okay, you're never done cleaning wild berry jam until it is actually in the jar, because it's coming straight from the woods and then going in the jar, just that simple. So you're always looking for bugs and everything, even after the sugar is added and you're doing the weights and the counts and this and that. You got to be very careful. Bugs will live within the berry itself. And when it foams up, then we skim that. Basically, it's the excess sugars that foam, but then if you let it set, it'll just return right to juice and go blend right in. To speed up the process, I cut it out, and then I use it in another process, which is in this can. And this will bring up little pieces of like leaves and anything like that that'd rather be floating, you know, in a boiling water. There's a guy, he was using thimbleberry jelly for a venison roast glaze. He says it works the best. Okay, this is done now. We're going to let these set for about 10 minutes to let all of the little bubbles in the jam either bust and come to the surface to get scraped or just to go into the air. take these jars and you say you rinse them and you say, okay, they're cold like this. Not cold, room temperature. You take and you put hot boiling liquid into this jar. You are going to break every one of these jars. Sit in there at approximately 212 degrees. So that temperature of the jar is going to be close to the temperature of the hot liquid. The whole mash, when we get it down in our capping, then we'll seal. So we have a very hot product going into very hot jars. And what you want to do with most jams is you want to keep that jam moving around a little bit so as not to collect all the juice. More liquid will go to the bottom, but if you keep yourself nice and mixed, you're going to have a hot product going into hot jars. The food inspector, he comes in here and he says, well, you supply stores and everything else, he says, and he says, is this all you got? You got 20 stores you supply and you do all this work? I says, yeah, this is all you need to do. It's just repetition. How big of a space do you need to do the same thing over and over and over?
Well, that's it for tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. And by the way, I tried some thimbleberry jam. I would suggest you give this UP specialty a try. It is delicious. See you next week right here on Discovering.